Dear friends, today we are going to discuss about the curricular expectations by our students at upper primary stage, that is at classes 6, 7 and 8. What exactly they are supposed to learn during these classes. So, in the beginning we will say that the children are expected to move from concrete numbers to number sense. Now, what we mean by this? They have studied about the numbers, the 1-digit number, 2-digit numbers and so on. Now, they are expected to see how they can use these numbers in daily life, how they can compare the numbers. For example, if I have a number 52 and if I interchange the digits 5 and 2, will the number increase or decrease? By how much? So, these things they should be able to tell. This was the first curricular expectation that you are seeing on the slide. Second, they are able to see relationships and decide the patterns, relationships among the numbers and what patterns is generated. For example, if I have a number 10, it can be written as 9 plus 1, 8 plus 2, 7 plus 3, 6 plus 4 and so on in different ways. Now, what is the pattern that is being generated that the children are expected to see? For example, the left hand side numbers, that is 9, 8, 7, 6, the numbers are decreasing by 1, whereas the right hand side number, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, in all these sums are increasing by 1. So, such type of relations and patterns they are expected to see throughout the mathematics in their later stages as well. Now, they should be able to understand and apply the concepts related to variables, expressions, equations, identities, etc. They should be able to see that the variables that they are using, they are not just letters like x, y, z, n, m, n and so on. They are nothing but they are representing the generalized numbers. We see x as a generalized number. For example, when I say a person has got x rupees, it means it is representing some number. It could be either 10 rupees, it could be 100 rupees, it could be 1000 rupees. And so, the child is expected to look at these variables as generalized numbers and use them in forming algebraic expressions and solve equations. For example, if a student has got say x apples with him and another student, say Aruna, has got one more apple than the first student, then how many apples does Aruna have? So, naturally she will have x plus 1 apples. This x plus 1 is an algebraic expression. We have used the variable as well as the number to form an algebraic expression. Similarly, equations can also be formed and identities are also formed. So, children should become competent in using variables in all these situations. The another curricular expectation is they should be able to use arithmetic and algebra together to solve the daily life's problems. For example, in a triangle, suppose in an isosceles triangle, the two base angles are of 50 degrees each, then what will be the third angle? We know that the student is expected to know that the sum of the angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. So, she will be plotting the equation as x plus 50 is equal to 180, that is x plus 100 is equal to 180. It means that some particular problem was posed before them and they have formed an equation and they will find out the value of x. Now, here algebra as well as arithmetic both were used. They are expected to have develop an aesthetic sense in shapes, in mathematics in general and in particular shapes like triangles, quadrilaterals, circles, etc. Suppose there is an equilateral triangle, there could be different lines of symmetry. In an isosceles triangle, there could be lesser number of lines of symmetry, but if I take an scalene triangle, then there won't be any lines of symmetry. In a circle, there could be infinite numbers of lines of symmetry. These concepts the student has to develop during her study at upper primary stage, and she identifies space as a region which is bounded by some regular shape. For example, the tabletop or the top of a laptop, it is rectangular in shape. The region that is enclosed within a boundary which forms a rectangle, or a tabletop can also have a region that is bounded by a circle. So, these things the students are expected to learn. Another curricular expectation is they develop spatial understanding in terms of perimeter, area, volume and so on to solve their day-to-day life situations. For example, if they have to fence the field, how much length of wire is required, they should be able to know that the concept of perimeter is required there, and using that concept they will be able to solve that problem. But in the case that there are two fields, rectangular fields of different dimensions, then and if I want to compare which is bigger and which is smaller, then the student is expected to calculate the area of both the fields and tell about it. Then another important part of this learning is they are expected to provide reasoning for whatever they are doing. For example, in the case of geometry, if suppose they say that two triangles are congruent, they should be able to tell why they are congruent, which congruence test has been used and which are the sides that are the corresponding sides. And lastly, the curricular expectation is about the data, the collection of data, representation of data that forms a very important part in our day-to-day life and in later stages in statistics as well. So, that is all for the curricular expectations for students at upper primary stage. Thank you so much.